Hey, what's going on? Dr. Ganswell Boogie here again, back for another update video. And this is going to be a huge update video, probably one of my biggest update videos I've ever posted up on this channel. Real excited about this one. I have some awesome stuff to show you guys. Not only do I have Christmas presents here, but I have a ton of other cool stuff that I've picked up over the past week or two, because last week I was busy with Christmas and I didn't really have time to post a update video up, and the week before that I might have posted one up earlier in the week, but I had picked some stuff up later on, so I accumulated a good amount of awesome stuff here. So I'm real excited to show you guys what I got. I'm going to start off with the Blu-rays, which I have a really awesome stack of Blu-rays here. I have a few DVDs to show, a few VHS tapes, and some action figures and collectibles and stuff that I'll show at the end. So just going to get going on the Blu-rays. And first off here we have the Synapse releases of Demons 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. Really excited to get these. These are two of my favorite Italian horror movies ever. You got Dario Argento as the producer. These were directed by Lamberto Bava, the son of Mario Bava, who is just the king of Italian horror movies, so you can't go wrong there. And these are just fun, really fun horror movies with great hard rockin' 80s soundtracks to them. Just can't go wrong with these ones. Highly recommend these if you've never checked them out. And you got really cool cover art on the Demons 2 one and on the first Demons 1 too. These are just really great Blu-rays. Glad to add these to my collection. Awesome stuff here. Then next up, this is actually a Christmas gift for my brother. This is the Dawn of the Dead Anchor Bay Blu-ray release, and this is out of print and really hard to find. And Dawn of the Dead is one of my all-time favorite movies ever, and it's one of my favorite horror movies. I just think this is a perfect and awesome movie. Best zombie movie they'll ever be, in my opinion. And really pumped to get this on Blu-ray, because this goes for a lot of money now, and it's not as easy to come by as it once was. So just really happy to add this to my Blu-ray collection. Dawn of the Dead Blu-ray. Next up here, the Beyond 3-disc special edition. This was Blu-ray release. This is released by Grindhouse Releasing. So this is really cool here. Been wanting this for a while, ever since this came out, and I saw this in everybody else's update videos. I was like, oh, I gotta grab that, and I just never got around to getting that beforehand. So for Christmas I made sure I picked this one out. So this was actually a gift for my mom. She let me pick out a few things to order off the computer, and this was one of the things that I picked out. Really awesome. This comes with the soundtrack and a bunch of special features. It's one of my favorite Lucio Fulci movies, so just really glad to get this one on Blu-ray. Awesome stuff here. This is probably one of the best Italian horror zombie movies. It's really good stuff here. Alright, then next up, I picked this one up at FYE. This is Blood Rage. This is actually a Thanksgiving slasher movie. Had no idea really anything about this movie. I had seen a couple people show it off in their videos, and I remember seeing this cover on Amazon.com a few times, but when I saw this at FYE, it was on sale for like 20 bucks. I couldn't say no to that, so I picked it up, and this is really awesome. This is the 3-disc special edition of this movie. It comes with a few different cuts of it and a bunch of other bonus features. I still haven't watched this yet, so if any of you guys watching this have checked it out, let me know in the comments if it's any good or not, because from the way it's described on the back, it seems like it might be a fun 80s slasher movie, so hopefully that's the case with this one. Next up here, I finally completed my Sleepaway Camp Blu-ray collection from Scream Factory. I picked up Sleepaway Camp 1 and 2 on Blu-ray a while ago, probably during the summer when I first started to pick up Blu-rays and I first got my Blu-ray player. And since then, I just never got around to picking this one up, and it has been at FYE ever since, so I've been wanting to get it before someone else bought it, so eventually last week I went to FYE and picked it up, so I'm really happy about that, because I love the Sleepaway Camp films. I would say the first two are probably my favorite. The third one is probably my least favorite out of the three original Sleepaway Camp movies, but I still really like it anyway. Fun movie. Really cool stuff here. And next up, we have the Videodrome Criterion Edition on Blu-ray. I actually already have the Criterion Edition of this on DVD, and I actually already own a regular Blu-ray release of Videodrome. It was an import from the UK. But in my opinion, you can never have too many copies of Videodrome. This is one of my all-time favorite movies ever. This has Debbie Harry from Blondie in it and James Woods. And it's just one of my favorite movies ever. Just such a cool, weird movie. I cannot recommend this movie anymore. It's special effects are done by Rick Baker on this, and they're just really cool, great special effects. And David Cronenberg, this is just one of his weirdest and one of his coolest movies, in my opinion. Videodrome. Then last up here for the Blu-rays is the Batman Returns Steelbook. Saw this at FYE, and it just seemed way too cool to pass on. Probably out of all the Tim Burton Batman movies and all the ones that came out around that time, this was probably my favorite, Batman Returns, but I also really like the first one, which I actually have recently ordered, the Steelbook Blu-ray of Tim Burton's first Batman movie, so I'm waiting to get that one in the mail now, so hopefully that will be in my next update video, but still I was really happy to pick this one up. It's got some cool special features on here. It's got a music video from Susie and the Banshees, really awesome band, so looking forward to checking out both of these movies again. The Tim Burton Batman ones are probably my favorite Batman movies, even though I do think the Christopher Nolan ones are good. There's just something about the Tim Burton ones that is more appealing to me. They just look cooler, I think. Batman Returns. Alright, then next up, I got a little stack of DVDs. Show you guys what I picked up. Twilight Zone, the movie. This is a decent movie, horror anthology, sci-fi anthology type thing. I'd say it's not anywhere near as close to as awesome as the show. Just, you can't beat the stuff that was getting written by Rod Serling and all the other writers, and just one of the best anthology shows ever, the original Twilight Zone. This is a pretty good tribute to the Twilight Zone. You got John Landis, Steven Spielberg, and who else directed segments on here? Joe Dante. So just some cool directors working on this. Actually, sadly, during the John Landis segment, actor Vic Morrow died tragically during a helicopter accident. And I used to really like this movie in high school when it first came out on DVD. And I remember later on, the more and more I read into the Vic Morrow incident, it just kind of made me back away from this movie, and I haven't watched it in years. So I'm actually looking forward to watching this one again, especially now since I know what happened with Vic Morrow and everything. I've never, like, back when I saw the movie before, I really wasn't even aware of all that stuff, and if I was, I didn't really think too much of it. But the more you read into that, it's really a horrible accident to happen. Like, not only did he die, but two young, like, Chinese actors that he was holding both died during the accident, and it's just some crazy stuff. And it also made me question John Landis, too, because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on with that incident. So read into that if that sounds interesting to you at all. But other than that, I'm definitely looking forward to checking this one out again. Twilight Zone, the movie from the 80s. Next up, I got THX-1138. This is the science fiction movie made by George Lucas before Star Wars. This movie actually came out in 1970, and it was also produced by Francis Ford Coppola. This has Donald Pleasance in it and Robert Duvall, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. I've never seen this before. I always thought it looked visually interesting with the very white, sterile look to it and all the bald people. It just seemed like an interesting vision of the future or whatever this movie is, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. And recently I've been watching all the Star Wars movies, all the older ones, episodes 4, 5, and 6. So I kind of been getting into the George Lucas stuff again. I kind of figured I'd check this one out, you know. So there it is. This is the 2-disc special edition director's cut of this, which, again, just like with Star Wars, if you guys saw my Star Wars rant video that I posted up like a week ago, I mentioned that I'm not a fan of the special effects changes George Lucas has put into the various editions of the Star Wars movies that have come out over the years. I feel like he's like ruining the original movies in a way, and I also feel like when I watch them now, it's like 30 years of cluttered special effects throughout a movie that really doesn't need any of that. So I just feel like they should leave it alone and definitely release the original theatrical cuts on Blu-ray or DVD again to make them a little easier to buy. But just like with the Star Wars movies, George Lucas did his own director's cut on this. And of course, on the special features, nowhere is there the original theatrical cut, which is kind of what bothers me the most about when George Lucas does his director's cuts, is it's hard to find the original cuts of his movies after that. Like with Blade Runner, it's had director's cuts and final cuts, but it's still pretty easy to find the theatrical cut of that movie. It's on all the box sets and special editions of the movie, so that's why I've never really complained about Blade Runner having so many different cuts. But again, I wish I can see the original theatrical cut of this, but either way, I'm just looking forward to checking this one out anyway. Alright, and then next up here, I actually have some Christmas movies that I picked up on DVD. And these were movies that I had only had on VHS before this, so I figured I would upgrade them to DVD just to make them a little bit easier to watch around the holiday time. So, first off here, I picked up Home Alone. Of course, it's just a classic. I love this movie ever since I was a little kid. This has probably been one of my favorite movies to watch around Christmas. Also picked up Gremlins, which I would consider a Christmas movie. It takes place around Christmas time, and it's snowing out, and just in my opinion, this is a Christmas movie. But other than that, it's a really, really good horror comedy type thing. Just a great movie. I'm sure all you guys have seen Gremlins, so I don't really need to say too much more about it. Just classic right here. And then speaking of classic, picked up Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the 50th anniversary edition. I actually was planning on getting the Blu-ray of this, but when I went to Walmart to pick it up, they were sold out of the Blu-ray, so I just picked it up on DVD. I figured there probably wouldn't be too much of a difference quality-wise on it anyway. So, just glad to get this one. This is probably one of my favorite Christmas specials ever, and just one of my favorite cartoons. It's got Boris Karloff as the voice. Chuck Jones is one of the animators, and just, you know, it's based on a Dr. Seuss story, so it's got so many good creative people working on this that it's honestly one of the best, like, animation shorts ever, in my opinion. Just really classic, great songs in this, too. I'm sure all you guys have seen this, too, so you know what I'm saying. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, one of the best. Alright, that was it for the DVDs and Blu-rays, but I have a small stack of VHSs, which I'll go through now. And then after that, I have some of the toys and collectibles that I'll go through. But this video is getting a little long, so I'm going to try to go through these as quick as I can. First off, for the tapes here, we got Metropolis, classic silent science fiction movie here. This is actually a really nice copy of this movie. Usually I see really cheap public domain releases, and this feels like a nice, heavy, sturdy copy of this, so I'm looking forward to checking it out, because I actually haven't seen this movie in years, not since I was in high school, and I had, you know, one of those budget packs that has like 50 to 100 movies on it, and that was probably the last time I watched this. Then I picked up a couple Abbott and Costello movies on VHS. First off here, I got Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, one of my favorite Abbott and Costello movies, and this is just a really nice looking tape of this. I love these Universal MCA releases that they put out. Just some of my favorite ways to get Universal monster movies. This is actually an old release of Hold That Ghost, another Abbott and Costello movie. This one I don't think I've ever seen. I might have in high school when I was really getting into Abbott and Costello. I was like a huge fan in high school. I might have checked this one out, but I can't remember. But this is like an old MCA tape of this. I just thought it looked really nice too, so glad to pick this one up. I'll have to check it out around Halloween time when I'm having my Universal Monster Marathon. And then last for the VHS tapes, but definitely not least, this is the Star Wars Trilogy box set. And if you saw my rant that I did on the original Star Wars trilogy, and just on Star Wars in general, it's not just a rant, it was just me kind of giving my opinions on the Star Wars series and stuff like that. You saw me show this set, but I didn't show it off in like really good detail, so I figured I would show it in this update and try to give you guys a better look at it. This is actually probably one of the hardest ways to find the series on tape, because this set goes anywhere from like 50 to 100 bucks. I've seen it going for cheaper, but based on condition, this does seem to go for a lot of money. It's pretty pricey when it comes to VHS sets. This comes with the theatrical cuts of all of the 3 original Star Wars movies, which is awesome. I've actually been going through and watching all these recently. I just got through episodes 4 and 5, and I plan on watching episode 6 tonight. And the Star Wars movies are just so good. The first Star Wars movie, I can understand how it became such a big phenomenon, because that is just such a all the way around great movie. It's got everything you would want to see in a movie. It mixes basically like every movie genre ever into one movie, and it's just a really fun, awesome movie. And the sequels are just as great too. I mean, these are just great movies, but again, I'm sure all you guys have seen these, and if you haven't, you should check out the Star Wars movies. Come on. What are you doing? But, alright, I'll show you guys what the inside of this looks like, because it's freaking awesome. This, comes in another little slipcase. It pops open, so you can display it all nice on a shelf or whatever you want to do it on. And then it comes with, 3 tapes of all the movies, which I'm not going to pull out right now, but you guys get the idea anyway. Just a really cool set. So glad I picked this up. I paid $6 for this at a Goodwill, and after finding out how much it's worth, I think that's a really good deal on this. So happy about this set right now, because like I mentioned in my Star Wars video again, I actually don't own any of the Star Wars movies on DVD because I want to get the original theatrical cuts of them to watch. And the only way you can get those is in these 2-disc special editions that they put out with the theatrical cut as a bonus feature. And those editions are really expensive and go for about like 50, 60 bucks each. So really glad that I can watch these movies without having to spend like 200 bucks on them. So glad to find this. And this is the CBS box release of these, and this is just definitely one of my favorite things in my VHS collection right now. I just really love this set. Right, but that was it for the tapes. But last, for this video, I was going to show you guys all the figures and collectibles I got. So first off here, this was actually another Christmas gift for my brother. This is the Funko Pop of Ash. And this is really cool. Actually, out of all these Funko Pop figures, this is probably one of my favorite ones I've ever seen. I just really love the Evil Dead series. It's one of my favorite horror movies, and one of my favorite horror movie series, of course. And anything related to the movie I just think is awesome. So really glad to have this. I got another Funko related thing here. This is part of their reaction series. This is the Freddy Krueger. Really glad to get this one. Actually, I think this is actually one of my favorites that was released in this horror series. This is some of the other ones on the back, which I'm sure all you guys have seen these hanging around different stores. I actually think my favorites in the series are probably the Freddy, Mike Myers, and the Ghostface. The Pinhead one is cool too. For some reason, Jason being my favorite, killer, and Friday the 13th being my favorite slasher movies. The Jason figure in the series, I just feel like it's kind of underwhelming. It's kind of a boring figure. I still want to get it, but still, it's like not one of my favorites in the line. But this Freddy is really nice. It's got some, I got the glare going on here, but it's got some cool details to it. And I'm really glad that it came with a hat, too. So, cool, really cool stuff here. But then the last thing I had to show in this video is probably one of my favorite things in my collection. And this is something that I've been wanting for a while. This is actually the re-release that NECA recently put out of the Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees video game figure. This is based on what he looked like in the classic Nintendo game, which originally this was released as a Comic-Con exclusive, and that exclusive goes for a lot of money now, and I always wanted to get it, and it always kind of pissed me off that I couldn't because it's expensive. So when I heard they were re-releasing this, I was like, I gotta buy it. I checked FYE every week for it. I figured if I didn't see it there, I would eventually check if Toys R Us had it, but last week went to FYE to pick up a couple last-minute Christmas gifts, and while I was there, I saw this sitting on the shelf, and I just had to grab it. So pumped to finally get this in my collection. NECA is actually going to be releasing another Jason figure soon. I actually think it's already out, but I haven't seen it in any of the stores around me. But it's based off the his look from Part 6, so I'm also going to pick that up when I find that. It looks like a really cool figure, but this was probably one of the Jason figures that was at the tippity top of my figure buying list. So just so glad to get this one. It actually has a thing, so when you open it, it plays the music from the game, but mine only works when it wants to. I don't know if the battery is already dying, because people could have been looking at it while they were in the store looking at it or whatever. Let's see if we can get the music to play, and you guys can check the figure out. Oh, see, the music didn't play. Oh, there we go, we got the music. So this is the actual music from the game. I don't want to keep it open too long, so I don't want to drain the batteries anymore. But with the glare, probably won't be able to get a good idea of this, but I'm sure most of you guys have already seen this figure in one way or another anyway, so you get the idea. But just a really cool action figure, and one of my favorite things in my entire collection right now. So that was my huge update. Like I said at the beginning of this video, probably one of my biggest updates I've ever posted up, and I just had so much cool stuff to show. All the awesome Blu-rays, the Jason figure, and all the gifts that I got. That just one of my favorite updates I probably have made to myself. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it and collecting all these things. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, write a comment if you liked it, and I'll see you guys next time.